We're back at the Pit pregame. New Mexico and Oral Roberts coming up for you on the UNM Sports Radio Network. We have Lobo head coach Richard Pitino. Coach Pitino, I first want to look back at that crowd of more than 15,400. I mean, it's the largest crowd that's been in the Pit since 2009, and I know you would have loved to send them home with a win, but appreciating what they mean to this program and what we all enjoy here in New Mexico, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to keep in perspective what we inherited about 18 months ago, and not to disparage the previous coaching staff or anything, but obviously you're trying to really rebuild everything. You were able to add 8 players off of Zooms who never saw the campus. Obviously, 2 of them have been all-conference players. And now to show the growth from year 1 to year 2, not only by wins and production, but by bringing the community back. It was special. I mean, I remember I took over the job, somebody said to me, well, the Pit used to be where everybody, it was a who's who, would go. And you saw that. I mean, you got the governor there, you got the mayor there, you got everybody in the community is just a part of it. And that's what it needs to be several times, not just one time during the season. So we internally understand kind of where we're at. And as we grow the program, the recruiting, the skill development, the culture, all that stuff will go. But I tell you what, our fan support is so far ahead of everything else where we're at right now. So very, very appreciative.
That's really well said. And that's exactly where I wanted to go with my follow-up question, because you are farther along than you anticipated at this point in the rebuild. And now all of a sudden the expectations get ramped up beyond where you had ever thought they would be at this point, midpoint of year 2. So how do you keep everybody grounded, and how do you deal with those outside expectations internally?
That's a phone. Internally, nobody in our reality talks the way that people talk on social media and the internet. So you take it for what it is. And it's not just our people. It's that way everywhere. And you know what? When you lose, they write about somebody else. It's just now everybody's talking about FAU because they're having a really good year. And if they lose, they're going to talk about somebody else. It's just the news cycle that we live in. It's nobody's fault. It's not just New Mexico fans. So it's as I said before, like we got to grow it. And, there's been a lot of work that's been done in 18 months, phenomenal work, a lot quicker than I think anybody ever thought of. Your last couple crowds over 15,000, amazing. But we're still not there. So, we're sitting after 16 games, 14-2. If anybody around here has an ego about that, then that's okay. That's their prerogative. So, we just focus one game at a time. We're not worried about March. We're worried about right now and seeing if we can go beat Oral Roberts.
Lobo head coach Richard Pitino is alongside New Mexico and ORU coming up in the Pit. So you're mid-season, essentially, and you're looking to fill 2 holes in your schedule. You get the first one done with a neutral site game against USF, and when you scheduled this game against ORU, it made a lot of sense. Now you've lost 2 in a row, and they're on a 10-game winning streak. This is a tough task, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we're not playing poorly. We had a chance at Fresno. We even had a chance here. What's come down to is we haven't made shots at the end, and they have. And some of that's poor defense and rebounding and things like that. But we had our chances for UNLV. We did. And every time it was a chance to convert, we just didn't do it. But it's not like we're reeling. We're not getting blown out by 20, 30 points. So we try very hard not to make it about winning and losing. We try to make it about playing the right way. Oral Roberts is a terrific team. They've got one of the best players in the country. He's a preseason All-Summit. He'll be MVP of the league. They're terrific offensively. We wanted to, again, it's such a weird year with the New Mexico State thing. We wanted to add value to it. I believe, they're 62 in the net. San Fran was another one that was a really good opponent. The one-day prep is a little bit scary, but we just got to have a high level of confidence that we're at home and we can go get a win.
You mentioned their all-conference player and player of the year, Max Asmus. He obviously is the best in the Summit. He's one of the best in the country. What makes him so good?
Shot maker, similar in a lot of ways to House and Mash. not the biggest guard by any means, but can score in a variety of ways. He hit a half-court shot to win the game versus UMKC like it was an elbow jumper. So he's old, experienced. He's got tournament success. So he makes them go, and they've got really good offensive personnel all around. So we've got a very, very tough task defensively, and it certainly starts with Asmus.
Lobo head coach Richard Pitino is alongside. They've got a 7'5" post in Connor Vanover. You don't see too many of those around.
Yeah, he's huge, and he can score it. He can shoot threes. He's obviously can block shots at 4 blocks per game. He's light. We've got to be more physical for sure. But he's a good player, and Dale, as I said before, I mean, their balance with all 5 guys, they're very, very good offensively. And with Connor Vanover, you can't get caught fronting because you're not going to win that battle because he's so tall. So you got to be really, really physical with him.
They make more than 11 threes per game. They're 4th in the nation in made threes, and they're not just a volume shooting team. They're pretty efficient shooting the three. How does that challenge your defense?
I think they're really efficient all around. They run their stuff very, very well. They move the ball very, very well. They've got 5 guys on the court that could score at all times, so you can't really help off of certain guys. And then they got a dynamic scorer in Max. So it's as I said before, I mean, they're putting up big-time numbers on a lot of people, and we got to be ready, and our defense has, although we've played good basketball the last 2 games, our defense has taken a step back, so we've got to pick it up.
Is it possible that this one could turn into a true track meet? And is that okay with you? These are 2 teams top 35 in the nation in terms of possessions per 40 minutes.
I mean, I always want to push the pace, but, you got to be able to, as John Wooden said, right, be quick but don't hurry. We want to play very fast, but we want to be efficient. We want to move the ball. We want to turn it side to side. We want to go inside to out. We had some shots and that have really hurt us. But what's really hurt us the last 2 games is turnovers. When we don't turn the ball over, we're pretty efficient in the half court. So we'll push the pace. We want to make it harder for them on defense to where they're not scoring early. So I do think the better your defense is, it'll slow the game down a little bit.
Coach, one of your fine freshmen has been dealing with a torn ligament in his thumb since before the season started. It continues to aggravate that injury, and you have an announcement with regard to Braden Applehans?
Yeah, we're going to shut him down for the year and apply for a medical red shirt. To his credit, he's really fought through it. It was one of those deals where I don't think people externally knew as much, but there'd be times in practice he'd bump it and he'd have to be out for the rest of practice. So he tried, and we kind of had the number that we wanted to look at, and then we wanted to make sure, we don't want to do anything to jeopardize his eligibility. So it's the right time for him. We're really, really excited about Quentin. We're really excited about Braden, although Donovan Dent's played. But those 2 guys sitting out and redshirting says a lot about what I think of their future. They're going to be really good players. So hopefully we can get him healthy and ready to go for next year.
One final thought. ORU, 200th in defensive efficiency. They've had their struggles on defense this season. What do you think they'll do in terms of defending you, and how do you attack them?
Well, we've got the advantage physicality-wise in the front court, and one of the things I was really disappointed with our guards was, UNLV takes you out of your sets. They keep everything on the side, and you have to flow and you have to play, and you got to get the ball to Morris. You got to make them stop them. And we tried to run a couple of set plays that we broke off. And the guards, mashing the house, got to be better, getting them the ball and flowing into the game a little bit more. They're kind of like we are a little bit. They're small in the perimeter, but we've got to take advantage of that front court because we certainly have an advantage there. They'll play 4 guards together a lot of the time. So they're a good team, but we got to take advantage of that front court.
Thank you so much, Coach. Best of luck against Oral Roberts.
Thank you.
Lobo head coach Richard Pitino alongside. We're back after this timeout. It's Lobo basketball pregame from the pit on the UNM Sports Radio Network.
We're back post-game courtside of the pit. Post-game show brought to you by the Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino. Winning entertainment includes Sablecast Racing, live music, dining, the best games, and more. It's the Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino. Lobos knock off ORU. Final score, New Mexico 82, ORU 75. Lobos improve to 15-2 and finish up non-league play unbeaten on the year at 13-0. That's so impressive, Hunter. It's just the fourth time in the history of the Lobos that has happened. You have to appreciate an accomplishment like that.
Yeah, no question. But, I think of those games, 9 or 10 of them are at home. So you've got to take care of home, and you've got to win, and they've done that for the most part.
Absolutely
they
true.
Lost that conference game.
Right, to UNLV. Yeah. Well, in fact, going back to the end of last year, the Lobos' home winning streak was 12 consecutive games. Now, that's protecting the pit.
Yeah. Yep.
So UNM wins it, and the Lobos now have a brutally difficult task, don't they? They have just reached back into the top 25 of the AP rankings. The hated rival, the San Diego State Aztecs, await on Saturday night in Viejas.
Yeah, and after tonight's game, you don't see much improvement from the loss to UNLV in terms of how they closed out the last 4 minutes of this game, going like 0 for 10 on field goal attempts. I mean, just not scoring a field goal in the last 3 minutes or so. I mean, those are the type of struggles you cannot have going on the road, especially at San Diego State, because that matchup, as we talked about matchups, is a difficult one because of the size of the backcourt for San Diego State.
Yeah, and they are all predicated on that defense, Hunter, and it's going to be a lot tougher to score down in America's finest city this weekend. Okay, we pause first. Post-game break, Lobos 82, ORU 75 final. Coach Pitino will join us shortly. It's Lobo basketball, live on the UNM Sports Radio Network. Welcome back courtside inside the pit post-game. The Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino post-game show continues. Winning entertainment, including simulcast racing, live music, the best games, dining, and much more. It's the Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino. We're joined now here post-game by Lobo head coach Richard Pitino. First off, Coach Pitino, congratulations. I know how much this one scared you. New Mexico 82, ORU 75 is the final. Big win for your club.
Huge win. We took a chance with both of these rescheduled games. 1 day prep on the road at San Fran. 1 day prep off of an emotional game versus UNLV. Still a great crowd. I mean, I think our people don't quite appreciate how great our fans are. But to be able to get, 8,000-9,000 people, college football Monday night is awesome. So we needed that. We needed to be mature emotionally, and I thought we were. We played great defense in the first half. Didn't rebound the ball well enough, especially with the offensive rebounds. We were very good offensively, missed some free throws, but got more assists, did a better job there. So that's a team kind of like Iona. I mean, they were 60, whatever in the net. They're going to win a lot of games, so fortunate to come out with a win.
Coach, congratulations, but this team seems like a little pattern here of this is maybe the third game in the closing minutes of the game, having a hard time finding field goals.
Yeah, UNLV probably more so than this.
Yes.
I thought we had some good looks versus UNLV. Mash had some good mid-range, just didn't make them. Maybe we're a little bit fatigued. That could be it a little bit. So it'll be some good rest tomorrow. We did a better job this game versus UNLV of throwing it inside. Morris needed to make some better decisions, but he also had some really, really good passes to Josiah. But we were more mature offensively this game than UNLV. But when we rely too much on jump shots, that can happen to us a little bit.
Was that the strategy at the end, trying to pound it inside again?
Trying to go inside. The only scary part about it was Morris wasn't making free throws. Yeah. So that was the concern is, okay, if we throw it in, are they going to foul them? Which they did, but, you still got to stop those guys down low. So we were trying to go inside out.
Let me quickly ask about Javonte Johnson. We know the elbow's been bugging him since UNLV. How's he doing?
Yeah, he tried to go through shoot around today, and it was hurting him. You saw that air ball that he had, and everybody was mad at him for missing a shot, but his elbow was hurting last game. So hopefully the rest today will get him ready for San Diego State. Javonte brings so many intangibles, especially from a length standpoint. We don't have great length. Now, being able to play Pitino Dent was great. He was terrific. Thought he played really, really well. He continues to block shots, which is really hard for a guard.
Coach, you mentioned that the size that Javonte brings. I noticed that ORU Roberts tried to post up the UNM guards. What's the strategy on that? Because you'll start seeing that more as conference play continues.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of consistent with where we're at as a program right now. We're small on the perimeter. Braden obviously has length, but he's had that thumb injury. We're going to shut him down for the year, try to get a medical red shirt. Quentin's got length as well, but we're redshirting him, so we're trying to build for the future. So we do give up certainly a lot of size, but we're also hard to stop. So it's just kind of something you got to live with a little bit. We didn't really want to trap because they're so good at shooting the three, but that's something that we have certainly in the defensive scouting report.
You mentioned it pregame, but in case it's the first time fans listening right now are hearing about Braden, the timing in terms of ensuring that he has a good chance with his, the application for the medical redshirt, that's why deciding now?
Yeah, I mean, he was fighting through injuries. A little torn ligament in the thumb and his shooting hand is hard. So we just wanted to push it as much as we could, and then he just couldn't deal with it anymore. So we will, apply for the medical redshirt. We feel very confident about it, and we're excited about his future.
Great stuff. Okay, so you've got a 7'5" guy in there. It's not many times ever you'll see someone that big, and your two bigs both go for double-doubles. It's been a couple of years since the Lobos had that happen in a game. What about the play of both Mo and Joe?
We had to go inside. I thought Jalen House bounced back from, obviously he didn't play great last game, and he had a very mature game. We really talked to him about, we need you to be the point guard. I brought Morris, Mash, and House in, and I said, hey, those guys are scorers. You got to be the facilitator. Doesn't mean you can't score. You can score, but you got to run the show. He was so much more poised today. They were, like I said before, they were mature at throwing the ball inside.
I know you got to get upstairs for media, but in terms of taking care of the ball, different type of team defensively, but did you like what you saw there?
Yeah, I mean, different. UNLV is one of the best in the country at it. So we were able to run more of our stuff, which we're certainly more comfortable doing, but way better. We're a pretty good offensive team when we don't turn the ball over.
Congratulations. Nice bounce-back win. Big one coming up, San Diego State on Saturday. Can't wait.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Lobo head coach Richard Pitino postgame. Okay, we step aside. We come back with Donovan Dent joining us shortly. Lobos a winner. Final score, New Mexico 82, ORU 75. Stay with us on the Lobo postgame show. We're back after this time out on the UNM Sports Radio Network. Welcome back inside the historic pit. New Mexico a winner over ORU. Lobos 82, Oral Roberts 75 is the final. We have one of the stars of the contest tonight coming off the New Mexico bench, the true freshman from SoCal. Donovan Dent joins us. First off, congratulations. Big win for you guys.
Thank you.
So we get word pregame. We know that Javante was struggling a little bit at the end of the UNLV game with the elbow. And, Lobos are missing a key piece, and that kind of pushes that rotation up a little bit. Did you get kind of amped up knowing maybe there might be a few more minutes coming your way tonight?
I think 100%. Coach talked to me pregame. They just told us, be ready to rotate. It's a big game for you guys. Pick up where Javante left off because he's out this game. I think we did a great job of that, me and KJ.
Hey, Donna, you're such an unselfish player to the point to where it becomes selfish because you're trying to find the guys and trying to get them open. And I look and you have 3 turnovers, but that wasn't because you forced it. You were trying to get your guys open. And some of the guys like Barima or even Sebastian, they're just not ready, especially when those no-look passes. Yeah. So what's Coach telling you about that?
I think he told me just, know your personnel a little bit. We work on it with them in practice. They're going to get better at it. We're going to keep working with it. I think in the game, the one I do to be set, he cut off his back cut. Coach is just know your personnel, be smarter, and take care of the ball.
The passes are definitely NBA-type passes. It's just those guys aren't ready for them.
No, and I respect that. We're going to work with them. We're going to get better with it.
So one of the things that Hunt talked about a bunch tonight, and we've seen it the last couple of games, including tonight, when they've got those bigger perimeter guys, I feel like you come in and maybe not necessarily multiple inches taller than some of the other Lobo guards, but you seem like there's just a little more length, bring a little bit more to the table defensively. It really showed tonight. Is that something that have the coaches talked to you about that? Is it a concerted effort that we need you to D up on those guards on the other team?
100%. I think that's one of the main things that harps me in film a lot. They want me to pick up my energy on defense because I create my offense like I did tonight. So I think they just want, when I come in the game, to bring energy, be a pest on the ball, be all over it, just be a spaz really on defensive end.
And you did that. I mean, you did. You got a couple of breakaways.
100%.
Some pick sixes, right?
Yeah. How fun was it pulling down that rim?
Nah, it was cool. He actually clipped my leg, so I had to hold on the rim for my life really over there, but it was good.
So you're hanging on.
Hanging on for life.
And, Hunt, I don't know if you noticed this, but the second one down, I thought I was going to go get it again,
yeah.
But then it got a little scary, and I think sometimes I see guys who've been playing forever. They want to highlight, and then they miss it. And you whoa, and then you pulled up and you just laid it in. Really smart. Has that happened to you before?
No, 100%. I mean, I didn't used to have this type of balance in high school, so I was really just a layup type guy. But when I felt my leg get clipped a little bit, I just want to take sure, get my 2 points, just finish over the rim.
Genius move.
100%.
No, there's a lot about your game as a freshman that feels pretty mature. Why do you think that is?
I think that's just how I was brought up throughout high school. And I think they keep me here, keeping my mindset straight, like mature, like don't be so immature. Like I know I'm a freshman playing a lot of minutes. Just be mature with your role.
Wait a minute. You're not a freshman anymore. I've already told Rob this. Hey, we're in conference play, brother.
That's
we're going
true.
to San Diego State. There's no freshman.
I agree. I just got to play with maturity.
And you got it.
Thank you.
You're ready for it.
100%.
It would have been cool. I mean, he certainly can hear from you about the wars, but we had 50 of the legends out here just a few nights ago, right? A couple nights ago.
Yeah.
Viejas is another level. Their student section is off the chain crazy. They call it the show. You ready for an environment like that? You've had the environment here. Now, wait, let me rewind.
Yeah.
What about the 15,400 plus that we had in here 2 nights ago? How did that feel for you?
That was a great feeling. I wish we were able to pull out the win for all of them, but we're going to bounce back from that. I think that was an unreal experience. Running down the pit, on the court, it was amazing to see everyone.
When you keep bringing the effort and you go take care of business San Diego State, we'll have 15,000 more in the pit for you.
100%.
All right.
Is that the coolest environment you've been in?
100%. I mean, it was crazy environment. I've never seen nothing like it.
Yeah.
Well, be ready for it. They're going to be saying different things to you on Saturday night in San Diego. You ready for that?
I'm ready for it.
Awesome.
All right, go get 'em.
Congratulations. Great work
Thank you,
tonight.
guys.
Thanks,
Donovan Dent, true freshman, and one of the stars tonight.
He's no longer a freshman.
He's a sophomore by trade
That's
now.
right.
Conference play. Okay. There is no doubt that he is our defensive player of the game. Our defensive player of the game is brought to you by Theta Point. Make cybersecurity a team sport. Add Theta Point to your team to increase your defensive posture. Donovan Dent. Straight on three. Blocked again by Dent. Dent ahead. Dent to the rim. Dent hammers with 2 hands.
Another one.
Now Dent with a steal. Dent going the other way. Dent will lay it in. That came back-to-back at a huge sequence for UNM. There was a wonderful 11-point run for the Lobos to grab a double-digit lead, and they were able to finish it off here tonight. And Donovan Dent is your Theta Point defensive player of the game. He was remarkable tonight.
Yeah, he was off the bench, especially. I mean, given that, Javante was out and if Jenkins was starting. And Jenkins usually is the guy coming off the bench giving that spark, but Donovan really gave it, especially on the defensive end.
Okay, I'm putting you on the spot. You did mention it a little bit earlier with regard to the adjustment of the game. As always, it's brought to you by The Joint, the official chiropractor of UNM Athletics. What was your adjustment of the game tonight, Hunter?
Well, it was really just pounding it inside to Odeze. I mean, that was really what the Lobos tried to do, and Coach talked about that. He wanted to get away from just shooting threes, and that was the adjustment.
No question, because it was what he talked about pregame, that New Mexico got away from that in the last one against UNLV. It probably cost them the game.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so there it is, your adjustment of the game brought to you by The Joint, the official chiropractor of Lobo Athletics. Bob Walpole, producer and engineer, on-site engineer Michael Carlisle, my broadcast partner, Hunter Green, Lobo all-time great. I'm Robert Portnoy. So it is Viejas Arena. It is Saturday night coming up this weekend. It is a road trip for the ages as the Lobos will take on nationally ranked top 25 San Diego State. January 14th, the date. It's Saturday night. We will tip it off at 7 p.m. Airtime 6:30 with the Lobo basketball pregame show. I cannot wait, partner.
No, it's going to be fun. I mean, and like Donovan Dent, he's not seeing that. I mean, he saw it, and that was really his first time ever seeing a real pit game against UNLV. But going over to Viejas is going to be a whole different level for him.
Yeah, that's a beast for sure. Okay, that'll do it for us for tonight. Your final score for the final time. The Lobos finish non-conference play unbeaten for the 4th time in program history at 13-0. The Lobos snap their mini 2-game skid. UNM improves to 15-2 with the win. ORU drops to 13-4. New Mexico is a winner over Oral Roberts. Final score, Lobos 82, ORU 75. Stalling, everybody. This has been Lobo Basketball on the UNM Sports Radio Network.
You have been listening to New Mexico Lobos Basketball. This exclusive presentation of Lobo Basketball is brought to you by Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino, your home for winning entertainment. This